So in today's episode of Property Auction Hunters, we are looking at a commercial property with residential on top. It's in Bayswater in a really good part of London. It comes with a lease on the whole building, which is holding over, which is interesting. And effectively, they have sublet out the actual downstairs commercial and the upstairs residential. But the fact it's holding over it makes for an interesting conversation. And specifically, they have put details to say the tenant has made several offers to secure a new lease ahead of the auction. The landlord has decided to leave any agreement of new lease to the new owner post-auction. So, Piotr, give us your thoughts on this one, because I heard that this is where you used to get your hair cut.
Yeah, I have a history with this property.
Okay.
I used to actually work in the office next door on just literally 50 meters away. That office was a big serviced office and actually was converted into residential about 5 years ago. But it was about 12 years ago when I used to work there. And I remember this hairdresser being there 12 years ago. But basically this property is a bit complex, but cheap.
Yeah.
So I think that is making this exercise worthwhile. We actually like looking at this with a view of potentially maybe even doing some sort of deal on it, because anything freehold below $1 million in that area is unheard of.
Good value.
It is good value. And also this is 2,278 square feet. So basically at the guide price, that's approximately £400 a square foot. Can you get that kind of value anywhere in W2?
Not for a broom cupboard, you can't. No,
even for broom cupboards,
Yes.
that'll be like £1,000 a square foot.
They come at a premium.
Yeah,
They come at a
absolutely.
premium. Yeah. So I think this property is really interesting and worth the hassle of uncovering all the bits that might be wrong with it and how much it would cost to fix those things and whether it's possible to fix those things. But actually with money, everything is possible.
But what would you be doing? So fast forward to you've bought it, you've just completed on it. What's the first thing you'll be doing for the viewers?
So number one is, let's say we purchased it and we completed on this, and now we're interested in having a conversation with the tenant. Basically, this property is sold with the tenancies unknown, terms unknown. It says it's sublet, but we don't know how much, what kind of money. So I would want
This is the kind of thing that we love, FYI. We bought properties from LPA receivers and other entities where they don't have all the information.
Yeah.
And when they don't have all the information, you have to say unknown, not sure, no warranties, all of these different things. That's an ever decreasing circle of competency of buyer that can pick it up or be comfortable to pick it up and buy it. Now, there's certain ways that we can make ourselves comfortable with the information that's missing. We can make educated guesses for and against certain things. For instance, we don't know if it's inside the 54 Act or outside the 54 Act. We know it's holding over. We know the tenant is keen to stay. So what would we do here? I mean, it's a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Well, number one, it's like we don't know exactly the details about this property. Number one is, how is this tenant using it?
Yes.
Like, because at the moment, downstairs is a hair salon.
Yeah.
But can you access upstairs? What's the upstairs used for?
I think you need to go get a haircut.
Yeah,
That's what you need to do. You need to go get a haircut and you need to go into discovery mode.
Yeah.
Safe, can we get you to go and have a haircut? Because you have more hair than both of us. It would be pointless
pretty
me going.
Suspicious, yeah. They don't know you're a mystery shopper.
Two of us walking in there, it's problematic, but you've got half a chance. But I mean, these are key factors, right? Can you access the flats externally, or can you only access them via the shop? The fact it's being used as a hair salon / barbers is going to restrict the value of the upper parts as residential.
Yeah.
But in that area, not so much as to be problematic. But like I said, the bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. You have a tenant there that is looking to renegotiate terms. They want to stay there. So in our view, this is massively underlet.
And bear in mind that's a 25-year lease that they've had on it. So they've had that lease for 25 years. So really, I don't think there's been many rent increases. So really, they're going to have to come to terms with what today's rent is for that area as well.
I mean, it's going to be far higher than where they are now, but the idea is we would be renegotiating to retain the upper parts, because there is no conceivable value for us in today's market in locking that residential element back up again.
Yeah.
It would be a case of, yes, your rent is going to increase, but you got your ground floor, that's you done. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered to unravel where the value is, how we can rework the value. Because one of the things that we could say to the barbers is, if we do need to create up separate access for the upstairs, we may give them a large rent-free period and then go in for the planning for the external alterations, to put in a stairwell, to do all these other bits and pieces.
Calm down, Jay. No,
I'm not going to calm down, Piotr. I'm not going to calm down.
Rent-free periods.
I'm not going to calm down. Yeah, Piotr doesn't do rent-free periods. But what we can do is, you could probably do a reduced rate whilst there is the disruption to their business, all that other kind of stuff. I think it's still interesting.
Yes. Okay. So let me give you some more details.
Go on.
So there's definitely entrance for the upstairs.
Separate
on the
access.
side, separate access.
Excellent.
Which is
That
really
saved
good.
us a couple of grand.
And then first floor looks really good on street view. It looks like there's like net curtains, and like someone's definitely living
Someone's
there.
planted some flower beds and stuff like that. Good sign.
It's
Yeah.
Very good sign.
So first floor is good. Second floor also looks good. Third floor potentially also.
I think
good.
also the sash windows have been maintained pretty well, because
Yeah.
usually on these buildings you see like rust coming down and sash
Yeah.
windows all over the place,
Yeah.
you know, with wood coming out. But actually, I think someone's maintained it fairly well.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
Can we go on to John?
What you need to know here is basically the status of that leasehold occupier. It says here holding over. All that means is that the actual term of the lease has run out.
Yeah.
But the people are still in occupation and they're paying rent. So it's likely that it's a 25-year lease. It's likely that it's an act which has protection, a property which has protection for the for the business occupier. They're entitled to a new lease, but that will have to be at a current market rent. So it's the present owner is clearly leaving that to someone else to deal with. The present tenant appears to have a fantastic deal at the moment, because their current rent is £37,000, and obviously I'd guess that all of the upper parts are rented.
Definitely.
So I imagine they've got a big return on it at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're better being paid to have that lease, basically.
So it may well be that there's a development opportunity, and of course, it's possible. You need some advice on it, but it's possible that you could do a redevelopment of the whole building, taking back the residential parts, which aren't necessary, probably for the business occupation.
Yeah.
So if you have an argument that, okay, you're a hairdresser, you've got a hairdresser's shop, you don't need all of these flats above. That's not the deal.
So that's one way to get around the act, effectively.
You have protection for your business. So it's litigation. It's a court case, basically, to establish whether a landlord is entitled to take back in order to redevelop the upper parts.
Yeah.
So landlords of buildings like this are always looking for that opportunity at the termination of the lease. In the past, of course, residential uppers above shops haven't always been popular. 25 years ago, it may not have been such a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, of course, rental values are so much higher, and landlords are looking to take that value back. So from my point of view, it's just a question of getting an understanding of the status of that tenant, and an understanding of what the actual market rent might be going forward.
Is it something that you would buy, John?
No, I'll buy that house in Highbury.
A man dealing with his heart.
for the 1.15, if you remember correctly.
No, I went up on that one.
So actually, there's I just looked at the legal part. There's a document here called the Section 26 notice from the tenant.
So that means that the tenant has taken the initiative, and demanded of the landlord that he grant a new tenancy.
That's right, and they're actually proposing £37,000 per annum rent.
Well, they would.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like it's ridiculous. And also like one thing like what interests me and like what I would be looking at whether they're actually entitled to serve that notice, because they're not really occupying the property themselves. Most likely, it's most likely occupied like sublet.
This is a lease.
To other
This is a
tenants.
lease to lease, effectively. So you've
Yeah.
leased it out to someone that's then subleasing it out.
Yes, but if it starts out being a protected tenancy under the Landlords and Tenant Act, because it was let as a whole for business purposes.
Yeah.
So that's the starting point. So as a landlord, you have to defeat that in some way, and you're only likely to be able to do that with redevelopment or negotiation.
So could that be a case that you basically just splitting some of the flats in two and creating maybe smaller flats? So maybe a 2-bed into 2 1-beds.
It has to be. I think the expression is substantially develop or reconstruct. I forget the exact words, but you have to have a substantial development. You can't just be, doing some wallpapering.
So a 2-bed to 2 1-beds is
something
probably
like that. Yes.
because that's creating 2 separate dwellings.
Changing the access, creating dwellings which previously were simply rooms above.
Yeah.
So putting like a mansard on something like
that.
And the area, the values there would support a mansard there if there isn't one already. But that would be a material change to the building, so it would pass that check.
John, what do you think it will sell for?
Let's have a look. I think it's worth more than that, because I suspect the actual passing rent. I mean, why you're asking me? I'm a lawyer. What do I know?
You said you live in North London.
John can tell you how much the legal package can be.
This is West London. I think it's at least at the top end of that estimate and more, simply by dint of where it is.
What would be your estimate, John, on the cost of litigation?
The cost of litigation for that, you could easily spend £50,000.
Okay, good. Okay, that's healthy.
Depending on what the
last question. Would RFB Legal want to sponsor this episode?
if we get the case.
So, Olivia, tell us your thoughts on this.
Guys, I'm so sorry to be interrupting this video of the Property Auction Hunters, but if you are interested in property auctions, whether you're looking to buy or sell from property auctions at all, then put the 2nd of May in your diaries. You do not want to miss this date. Essential Information Group are putting on an auction masterclass. This is something you do not want to miss. It's got to do with all things property auctions. We're going to have the likes of Jay Howard, Piotr Ruzanek, Ranjan Bhattacharya, Jess McCauley. We're also going to have Ali Chowdhury from RFB Legal and myself, as well as David Sanderman from Essential Information Group. So it's going to be in the Dickens Inn in London. There is limited tickets available. There's only 100 tickets in total, and they've already sold a certain amount. And there is early bird tickets being sold right now. So I will drop in the link into the description below. Look forward to seeing you all there on the 2nd of May. Enjoy the rest of this video.
Well, it looks like an attractive auction lot. It's got, an attractive guide. It's got plenty of opportunity for somebody. I think you've got a really proactive tenant, it looks like. So to negotiate with them, it depends what people want to do with it. But I think you'll attract quite a few different developers, sort of the medium size as well, and investors. So yeah, it's a good looking lot. I think it's priced well enough to gain enough interest. There are obviously more question marks, so it's definitely down to somebody doing a bit of due diligence beforehand and just making sure they know. But yeah, it screams opportunity for someone. So
Give us a figure.
Oh, I knew that was coming. All of this is expensive for me, coming from Devon. It's hard, isn't it? It's going to be over $1 million, isn't it? I think I'm going to go 1.1.
Okay. Jay?
No, I'm not going this early again. No, off you go. I want to see if I can be within 50 grand of whatever you two say. No, I'm swapping it around. Go on, Piotr.
So I think this property, someone's gonna buy this based on vacant value, vacant possession value, and the vacant possession value, it's like upper floors, 7 rooms. That's if you rent it room by room, £1,000 a room minimum. That's 7,000 a month. That's 7 times 12 is 84k. The downstairs hair salon and basement, I think that's 25k rental. So you are talking 110k, and 110k with minimal some refurb probably, and 50k litigation. I think 1.5.
Wow. Jay?
Well, I'm certainly not paying 1.5 for it.
In fairness to Piotr, he didn't say he was going to pay 1.5. He said he
just
thinks
said
he's
that-
going to sell for
that's-
1.5.
Okay. My gut feeling here is 1.5 is spicy, even if that wasn't the price that we paid for it. So I would say that I would like to be picking this up at the lower guide. Of course I would. But I think 1.2 is probably what it will sell for, because I think that's 9-ish% yield with the aggravation value attached to it, I think that would be a decent deal. So 1.2.
Yeah. I mean, look, you've got a leaseholder here that clearly knows what they're doing. They're quite sharp. The fact that they've worked ahead of the landlord. It seems to me like the landlord is maybe kind of trying to do a bit of a cop out here. And rather than sorting things out and actually optimizing the asset's value, he just thought, okay, this person's kind of coming at me quite aggressively. Let me just get rid of it. Which could be a good thing because he could not be showing his hand to allow people to have as much hope value as they want attached to it, right? So actually, it could be a strategic move. I would personally say, there is a lot of aggro to go through here, but I do think you'll get access to the residential part. There's so many things you can do to try and get around the act. You probably will have to surrender the kind of commercial part to him, but again, you can get a surveyor out to kind of tell you what the actual going rent is for something like that. In my opinion, I think it will probably go for about 1.15. That's where I see it.
Interesting. Yeah, I think.
Do you want to reconsider 1.5?
No. I'm pretty sure this is the kind of property I would like to underwrite because I think it's a bit of a trophy asset. It's Notting Hill, it's Bayswater, it's
difficult to get access to stuff like that. That kind of stock is hard to get.
And I work. This is like where I learned property basically, and I know what kind of buyers are going to be looking at this, and this would be like the doctors, pharmacists. It's basically attractive, like a generational asset, and I think there will be a lot of competition for it. Plus, it's right next door to the Bayswater, the shopping center, whatever it was called, Whiteley Shopping Center, and it's all being refurbished. And I think this is gonna go for 1.5, and this is the kind of property I would like to underwrite. We can underwrite this.
Okay.
We're not gonna release this episode, so if you're watching this episode, means we did not write it.
And also, by the time you're watching this episode, if you go back to the other episode of the 9-month lease property, is probably up to about a month now. So so that's where we're at with things. So look, we're all in agreement. It's going to sell. It's a good quality asset. It's got hope value. It's just a case of how much is people going to attach hope value to that property. So tell us what you guys think. Do you think it's going to sell? What do you think it's going to sell for? And actually, because we've been getting loads of viewers messaging us saying that they've bought a property that we were reviewing, are you guys looking at buying this out of interest? So
welcome to the results section of this video. So this property sold in the auction for a whopping 1.4 million and £5,000 and an incredible yield of 2.48% on a net basis. Can you believe that? So is this property a deal? Is this property a bad deal? Is this property a good deal? So it really depends on who bought this property and what their objectives are. I think this property can be a really good deal for someone with patient capital, for someone who's willing to hold this property for 15, 20 years. It's an amazing area. This property will keep growing in value. However, the rental income generated from it is not going to be massive unless the situation of the current tenant is sorted out, and that could mean litigation. Litigation can be costly, can take time. However, it's possible to get vacant possession of this property, in our opinion, and increase the rental income. So if you guys enjoying watching our videos, I think you would also enjoy coming to the auction room event that is being held on the 2nd of May. The link is below. Jay already mentioned about this event, and we hope to see you there on the 2nd of May. You will have us, Safe, you will have people from RFB Legal, you will have people from Together Money, you will have people from EIG, all coming together, and there will be a lot of auctioneers joining for drinks at the end of the event. So this will be quite a spectacular event in a spectacular venue. So we hope to see you there on the 2nd of May. And the last request, if you want us to review some properties that are of interest to you, or maybe you wonder what this property could sell for, is it a good deal, drop them in the comments and we will try to review them in our upcoming episodes of Property Auction. We're bringing also some really exciting guests, so make sure you drop us some really good properties to review. Thank you for watching and see you in the next episode.